Hola, everybody. If you want to learn about the science of getting rich, this live is for you. Continue to watch because we will be reading from the book, The Science of Getting Rich. This is an oldie but goodie, and it's just right there in your face of what wealth means or should mean to every human being. So when we read it and when we have a certain aversion to talking about abundance or wealth, some of these things might be triggering. Some of these, thank you. Hi, Red is joining. Some of these things in this book might be triggering because as I'm reading it, I can already feel certain energy that's saying, well, you shouldn't think like this or that. But if we have an open mind to the science of getting rich or abundant, I don't even like to use the word rich. I think I get triggered because I know people get triggered when it comes to money, and that's just programming that I need to work on. Getting rich will take a lot of work. See, that's programming right there. Getting rich is a lot of work. Well, would you rather do a lot of work and have abundance so that you can have an amazing, fulfilled life to do all the things that you want? Or would you rather have life be a little bit less challenging and you don't have the things that you want and you live or come from a poverty mindset? Don't want to work too hard. So I guess it just depends on how you look at working hard, because for me, in all of the careers that I've created for myself, it was never work to me because I was doing all the things that I absolutely love. So it was like, and I would work my ass off, but it never felt like work because it's like, I love doing this shit. I got paid to dance professionally. I love to perform. That wasn't work for me. I worked really hard. I worked so hard that I had chronic pain every day for 20 some years of my life. Hair and makeup. I was a hair and makeup artist for celebrities. I love making people feel good about themselves. I love to create things artistically. So that wasn't work for me. So if you say, you don't want to work hard, and it's not that I'm blessed. I feel I am blessed, right? But it's not that I'm blessed that I had those opportunities. I created them for myself, which is what we talk about with manifestation, is us creating our reality. So if you believe that getting rich is hard work, what is hard work to you? Hard work to me sounds like doing something that you really don't want to do, doing something that doesn't fulfill you in order to get rich. Like I said, I've created so many different outlets myself because I manifested the things that I wanted. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And I would just literally see myself doing it before I even knew really what manifesting was. I would always visualize, and visualization is such a big part of attracting all the things that you want to yourself. So a part of the science of getting rich, it's like, well, find something that you love to do that you don't even feel like it's work. Like working with LifeWave, I have my patch on. My elbow was just not good last night. So I put the Eon patch on and it just was doing some weird things and I could literally feel the pain like going away. But this company, like, this doesn't feel like work to me. Helping people get well was never, or has never been, and will never be work to me. So the science of getting rich, and we'll get into it, but if you see something as difficult or that it's a lot or too much, it's always going to be that. So it all depends. Again, it goes back to the mind. It all depends on how you see things. If you see things as difficult to achieve or get, you'll probably never have them, or you'll get them and you'll lose them, right? I've gotten better sleep off the patches. I tend to get burned out if what I love isn't making me money. Yeah, exactly, Marissa. I love that you still have your Leave Us the Fuck Alone hoodie. I was raised by poverty parents. They grew up poor. And again, I'll go back to my great-grandmother. She was an Italian immigrant from Italy. When she died, we found money everywhere in her bedroom, in the pillowcase, under the mattress, in her drawers, under her drawers, in shoe boxes on top of her closet. They would hoard their money because they never felt like they were ever going to have enough because they grew up impoverished, more in poverty. We only hold on to things when we feel like we'll never have enough of it. It's the same thing with love and relationships. When you never had a healthy relationship with love, you tend to really, really hold on tightly to the person that you're with, to the point where it ruins things. She wasn't in Italy, they came here. Shoe boxes under the bed. So again, it only and always goes back to our programming. The things that we have right now are a result of our mental programming. So she said, yes, I do that. I cling. So again, it's all programming. When we come from a limited belief system that we don't have enough of something, we hold on very tightly to it. So then we have no room to open our hands to receive, because we're so busy holding on to the things that we believe we're going to lose. Right? Again, it just all goes back to our programming. If we had parents that fought over money, if we had, family members that would always say, you'll never make it in life, you're never going to do this, you'll never be able to do that. How are we going to pay the bills? No, we can't get that. You can't afford this. That's only programming. So the Science of Getting Rich, which I'm going to read from, talks about just that. So I'm like, I wonder, the science of getting rich, what the hell is the science of getting rich? And literally, it all goes back to the mindset. A situationship. He has had so many others. I got to raise our child. So again, going back to what you believe you should get, or what you believe you're worthy of. Like, if you believe you're only worthy of a situationship, if you believe you're only worthy of a man that will never commit to you, or a woman that is flirting with a million other guys, like, that's exactly and only what you can attract. Right? Sometimes, this is my carrot, apple, and cucumber. Sometimes you will attract a person in your life that wants to show you something different. So somewhere in your consciousness, for moments, months, or weeks, or days, you believe, like, I'm going to meet the most amazing person. And that person comes into your life, right? But your programming isn't fully changed or shifted. And there was a part of you at one point that was like, yeah, I deserve this. But then you just continue to reaffirm, like, I know this person's too good to be true. I know that this is, this is only going to be temporary. And eventually you ruin and sabotage that relationship. Again, it only goes back to the belief system. It only goes back to the belief about what you think or feel that you deserve. Think feelingly is how we manifest. So if you think and feel that you only deserve a certain type of person, that's what you're going to get. So let's go to the chapter 1, the right to be rich. The right to be rich. And again, these words trigger me because I know that people are going to be triggered by it. And that's programming for me. Like, being a part of, which I never asked to be a part of. I was just lumped into the truther movement, which I don't want any affiliation with, because I don't give a shit about being a part of anything. I'm a part of myself. That's the only club that I want to be a part of, is my own fucking club. But being involved in the truther movement, a lot of those people have a very, very poverty mindset. They don't believe that people should get ahead. They don't believe that people should make money. It's very negative mindset, and I don't want to be a part of anything that is negative. And people in the truther movement tend to be extremely negative because they're always looking for the negative in life. And guess what? You're going to find it. If you're always constantly looking for the negative in life, I guarantee you're going to find it. So chapter 1, the right to be rich. You guys laugh, but I'm just telling the truth. Whatever may be said in praise of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one is rich. Abundance, wealth, rich, whatever you want to call it. No one can rise to his greatest possible height in talent or soul development unless he has plenty of money. For to unfold the soul and to develop talent, he must have many things to use, and he cannot have these things unless he has money to buy them with. A person develops in mind, body, and soul by making use of things, and society is so organized that man must have money in order to become the possessor of things. Therefore, the basis of all advancement must be the science of getting rich. The book is called The Science of Getting Rich. The object of all life is development, and everything that lives have an inalienable right to all the development it is capable of attaining. A person's right to life means his right to have the free and unrestricted use of all the things which may be necessary to his fullest mental, spiritual, and physical unfolding. In other words, his right to be rich. It is our right, it is our birthright to be abundant. And I've talked about this many times before. What type of God would want you to be living in poverty? To not have all the things that you could want to experience a full life in this realm while you're here. And I'm not talking about material things. I'm not talking about going and buying a $6,000 handbag or a $100,000 car. If that's your shtick and that's what makes you happy, great. But I'm not talking about your right to be rich to fulfill materialism. I'm talking about your right to be rich to have the experiences that you need or the experiences that you can give to other people for them to have a full life. Like anyone that has children, like you want to be able to give them everything to experience a full life. And again, I'm not talking about materialistic things. At least I'm not. Maybe other people believe that in order for their child to have a full life, they have to have all of the most expensive things. That's not what my belief is. I'm talking more about having, for children, for example, being able to travel with your children and showing them different parts of the world. Things like that, to have those kind of experience to enrich their soul, their mind, and their bodies. Having the access to the best food, organic foods, right? It's way more expensive than just regular food or food that's in a box, yes? I want to give my daughter all the things that she's always wanted. And there is literally nothing wrong with that. And we are taught, or we are programmed to believe that us wanting things is gluttonous. Can there be people that are gluttonous? Yes. I know many of them. They just can't stop buying things, and things that don't really, really matter. But about fulfilling the mind, body, and soul, or enriching the mind, body, and soul to live a really full life. Full life of experiences. Like, wow, there's this place on the other side of the world that I always wanted to see. Maybe that fills your soul. But you don't have the mindset to say, I can get there someday. There's so many people that say, oh my God, it's beautiful, but I can never afford to go there. You're absolutely right. With that mindset, you will never be able to afford to get there. Right? To be really rich does not mean to be satisfied or contented with a little. No one ought to be satisfied with a little if he is capable of using and enjoying more. We are all capable of more. We are all capable of more. There are three motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, and we live for the soul. No one of these is better or holier than the other. All are alike desirable, and no one of the three, body, mind, or soul, can live fully if either of the others is cut short of full life and expression. I think that is one of the key things that I've read in this book, is there are three motives for which we live. We live for the mind, we live for the body, and we live for the soul. And no one of those things is more important than the other. But we are taught that we are only physical beings, right? We're taught only for the physical. If we have a problem with the mind, then we're mental. But we literally live just as a physical, 3D, exterior physical experience. But the three motives for which we live are balancing and enriching the mind, body, and the soul. You can't live fully if you're not enriching the mind, the body and the soul. You can enrich your body all you want. You can buy yourself all the fancy things. You could have all the gorgeous clothes and the Gucci and the designer. You can do all that in your physical body. I know so many people that are driven by materialism. All they do is work on their exterior, but they don't work on their mind, and they certainly don't work on their soul. So if there are three motives for which we live, which is the enrichment and balance of the mind, body, and soul, if you only enrich one of those things, how are you actually having a full experience here on earth when you're only enriching one of those things? I just want a beautiful home. Someone said it, I saw that. You have to see yourself in the home already. You have to see yourself living in that space. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What kind of couch are you sitting on? What is your bedroom like? Right? It is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny mind or body, and it is wrong to live for the intellect and deny body or soul. We are all acquainted with the loathsome consequences of living for the body and denying both mind and soul, and we see that real life means the complete expression of all that a person can give forth through our mind, body, and soul. And that is so, so true. We'll work so hard to impress a person or impress people by the kind of car that we drive, or by the way that our body looks, by the things that we wear. But living and coming from that type of space really means that you're coming from lack of something within yourself. Because if you feel that you have to impress people because on the inside, which is the soul, you're enriching the body with all materialistic things. But if you're feeling that you have to be a certain way to impress people or to feel a certain way about yourself, then you are missing a lot on the inside. So you're not enriching your soul with the things that it truly needs, because all you're worried about is the physical things. Right? And if your mind is so weak that you feel that you can only live a full life as if you have all the things that look nice, you have to fucking look nice on the inside. You have to enrich your mind and have your mind look nice on the inside, not just about the outside things. Because then you're only working on enriching one part of yourself, which is, I can't say that because we're talking about balance. So never mind. Whatever he can say, no one can really be happy or satisfied unless his body is living fully in its every function, and unless the same is true of his mind and his soul. Wherever there is unexpressed possibility or function not performed, there is unsatisfied desire. Body, mind, soul connection. Wherever there is unexpressed possibility or function not performed, whether it's your mind, whether it's your body, or whether it's your soul, if there are any of those things that are unexpressed, there's an unsatisfied desire there. How many people that have closed throat chakras, right? They're ready to burst with wanting to say something, but they just don't have the guts to say it. So that's unexpressed possibility or function. So there is unsatisfied desire. When you have unsatisfied desire, stuck and repressed energy, what does it do? It manifests into something physical. It manifests into an illness, right? So if we're not expressing ourselves to our fullest and highest, then we're not fully living. A person cannot live fully in body without good food, comfortable clothing, warm shelter, and without freedom from excessive toil. Rest and recreation are also necessary to his physical life. One cannot live fully in mind without books and time to study them, which is so true. I mean, you can go out and figure things out yourself and go look at a tree and, study things in nature. But the reality is that if we have potential access to limitless information, but we don't have the money to acquire that, then we're not living fully. If you don't have the money to, let's say, have a cell phone because we have access to so much information, right? If we don't have access to a cell phone because we don't have the money to pay the bill, we're not living fully. Life shouldn't be a struggle, but we're programmed to believe that it should. To live fully in mind, a person must have intellectual recreations and must surround himself with all the objects of art and beauty he is capable of using and appreciating. To live fully in soul, a person must have love. And love is denied fullest expression by poverty. I had to read this part a couple of times, so I'm like, that's not true. But I'm like, it is true. It is true. To live fully in soul, a person must have love, and love is denied fullest expression by poverty. I was like, well, how is that possible? A person's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits on those he loves. Love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in giving. The individual has nothing to give, cannot fill his place as a spouse or parent, as a citizen, or as a human being. So as I read on, I was like, we can love people freely without giving anything, right? But if you're in a relationship with someone and you are both extremely poor, how could there be a fulfillment within the relationship? And not because it's not possible just having love, but if you're both living life together and you love each other, but you're struggling every single day, eventually there will be a breakdown because you're not fully living in your fullest expression of mind, body, and soul. It is in the use of material things that a person finds full life for his body, develops his mind, and unfolds his soul. It is therefore of supreme importance to each individual to be rich. It is perfectly right that you should desire to be rich. And again, we're programmed and taught that we shouldn't. We shouldn't want more. That's selfish. You shouldn't want to be rich. Money is the root of all evil. We have all of these programming surrounding wealth and abundance. And hi Shell, I hope you're doing better today. Who created these mind blocks, or money blocks rather, when it comes to abundance? The wealthy. They don't want to share their wealth. They want to have it because then they're in power and they're in control. So if all of us had an abundance mindset, all of us had the riches in everything that we wanted, what would life be like if there wasn't class systems? If there weren't the slave people down here to do all the work for all the wealthy people? What would happen? Society as we know it would not exist. Society as we know it would not exist because the people that are all the way down here that are in poverty, they wouldn't be the worker bees anymore. So how would we exist as a society? There always has to be an underdog, and I mean, it's been like this for so long, but again, it all comes back to the mindset. It all comes back to the mindset. If we had leaders that empowered people to be their greatest and highest selves, our society would completely change as we know it. But that's not the way that they want it to be, right? Because doing work on yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, on a soul level, that takes work. And most people won't do that work. The higher ups, the 1% or whatever, have been studying human psychology for so long, and that is the only reason that they have control over the population, is because of your own mind. They literally use your own God-given mind against you as a weapon. They know how to control, manipulate people. It's the way that humans work. And it's only through consciousness. That's why everything goes full circle. Science, spirituality, it all goes full circle. Our mind is the most powerful weapon on earth. If you keep people in fear, they're not going to rebel. Fear is created through the mind. Fear is created through propaganda. So as long as you keep telling people, you can't go there, it's dangerous. Don't touch that, you might get burned. You have people that are not going to ever live to their fullest fucking potential. As long as you can use fear against a human, most people are not going to rebel against that. And they will live a very small, comfortable life. Thank you, Shel. But they'll just live a small, comfortable life. They won't push things. They won't ask questions. They'll just do what they're told. As you saw the last 3 years during COVID. That people will just do what they're told. And it's because they are controlled by their own mind. Their own mind is their weapon and they don't even know it. You ever hear someone say, people just don't know what they don't know? They don't know what they don't know. And a lot of that comes with consciousness. People don't even want to know. People would rather just sit, stay in line, not ask questions, and I'm just going to do my work like the good little slave that I am. That's not the way that I was ever built. If you neglect this study, you are a derelict in your duty to yourself, to God and humanity, for you can render to God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. Right? No greater service to humanity than to make the most of yourself. If you're not making the most of yourself, you are doing a huge disservice, not only to yourself, but to humanity. By people not asking questions, by people not doing their own research, you're doing a great disservice to the rest of us. That you put your faith in some stranger on the TV so much that you wouldn't dare inconvenience yourself to read a fucking book, to do the work yourself. I trust the person on TV that gets paid $3 million to lie to me. How dare you disrespect that person? How dare you think that they would lie to us? Well, why don't you just go and read it yourself and see if they are lying to you or not? No, people won't do it. These controllers know. By studying our human psychology and our human brain and consciousness, if you keep people entertained, distracted, and comfortable, they're not going to rebel. Just like during the pandemic, they started to give out free money. Just throw some money at them and they'll be fine. They gave people not even enough money to live for a couple of days, let alone a month. And people are like, I don't care, I'm getting free money. It's like, are you on fucking drugs? Yes. The drug is mind control. That's the drug. That's the drug. So we could give humanity no greater gift than to make the most of ourselves. That's it. That's the message for today. We can give humanity no greater gift than by making the most of ourselves. This book is called The Science of Getting Rich. For somebody that just asked. Yes, thank you, The Science of Getting Rich. Yes, Science of Getting Rich. Okay, let me pin that shit because, I wish I guess there could be a friggin' timer. I don't know, whatever. Okay. It is natural laws that like causes always produce like effects. We talk about this in manifestation. Therefore, any man or woman who learns to do things in this certain way will infallibly get rich. That the above statement is true is shown by the following facts. Getting rich is not a matter of environment. For if it were, all the people in certain neighborhoods would become wealthy. The people of one city would all be rich, while those of other towns would be poor. Or all the inhabitants of one state would roll into wealth, while those of an adjoining state would be in poverty. But everywhere we see rich and poor living side by side in the same environment, and often engage in the same vocations. When two people are in the same locality and in the same business, and one gets rich while the other remains poor, it shows that getting rich is not primarily a matter of environment. Some environments may be more favorable than others, but then when two people are in the same business, in the same neighborhood, and one gets rich while the other fails, it indicates that getting rich is the result of doing things in a very certain way. And further, the ability to do things in a certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent. For many people who have great talent, they remain poor. Why? While others who have very little talent get rich and abundant. Studying the people who have gotten rich, we find that they are an average lot in all respects, having no greater talents and abilities than other people have. It is evident that they do not get rich because they possess talents and abilities others do not have, but because they happen to do things in a certain way. Getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. Many very people are poor while free spenders often get rich, nor is getting rich due to doing things which others fail to do. For two people in the same business often do almost exactly the same things, and one gets rich while the other remains poor. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. And if getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes also produce like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich. Like attracts like, right? The question arises here as to whether this certain way may not be so difficult that only a few may follow it. As we have seen, this cannot be true. Talented people get rich and blockheads get rich. Intellectually brilliant people get rich and very stupid people get rich. Physically strong people get rich and weak and sickly people get rich. Some degree of ability to think and understand is, of course, essential. As a natural ability is concerned, any man or woman who has sense enough to read and understand these words can certainly get rich. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with people and of being where we are. What the hell did that say? Hold up. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with people and of being where there are people to deal with. And if these people are inclined to deal in the way you want to deal, so much the better. But that is about as far as environment goes. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you. If anybody else in your state can get rich, so can you. Again, it's not a matter of choosing some particular business or profession. People get rich in every business and in every profession, while their next door neighbor is the very same vocation remain in poverty. And then it goes on. We're going to stop it there today, but it goes on to talk about the mindset. You can be side by side working in the same exact job as someone else. One can get rich and one person will remain poor. The only difference is what you believe about wealth, what you believe about what you deserve. And again, it all goes back to consciousness and how it all works. No, I have not read that. But I hope that this was helpful today. I'm going to post this. So anybody that wants to rewatch it or share it, go for it. But again, it just always comes back to our mindset. But how do I do this? Go in and reprogram the mind. There are so many different things. Hypnosis, reprogramming tapes, affirmations, journaling, visualizations. The name of the book is The Science of Getting Rich. And look how little this book is. It's tiny. It's a tiny book. So it's not like, and it's broken up in good chunks that we can understand. So that's good. My sister forgets that I'm live. So I hope that you guys all have an amazing day, or weekend rather. And I'll see you on Monday morning, Manifesting Mondays. Again, I just launched my next retreat, September 27th to October 2nd in Tulum, Mexico. I can't wait. I'm super excited. If you want to come, you can use a discount code right now. Crystal SR2, Soul Retreat 2. So Crystal SR2 to get, I don't know what the discount is. I have to ask Julie. But you can go to nourishmysoulretreats.org, read all about our second retreat. This is my second retreat, so I'm super excited. Hi, Kat. So I love you guys, and I'm super excited for all that is to come for all of us. Stay positive. Love you all.